Welcome in here to the shoot around. I am Ryan Gilbert. Today we are joined by former Wildcat DJ Johnson. As always, we're sponsored by the Part-Time Beverage Company. Be sure to check them out at your local liquor store. DJ, my man, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How about yourself?
I'm good. Thank you so much for taking some time to hop on here with us. Before we talk about just K-State basketball and stuff, I want to ask you what you've been up to since leaving Manhattan. I know you spent some time in the G League. Now you've tapped into sort of the real estate side of things. What have you been up to?
Yeah, so played overseas, played in the G the past couple of years. During my off season, always based in Kansas City to train, but also working for Better Homes and Gardens, where I work as a commercial and residential real estate agent. Haven't played anywhere this past year, so I graduated with my master's in May in urban planning and been practicing the last 9 months for a firm called Shock Consulting, and they do urban planning, but a large part of that is the real estate piece of it. So just applying my knowledge and skills there and still taking care of some residential clients.
I saw you on Thursday in Kansas City sitting behind the K-State bench against TCU. K-State wasn't able to get that one, but they had a hot start. Kind of what went wrong in that game and just some overall thoughts and takeaways from that loss to TCU.
Yeah, I think just turnovers. Turnovers, maybe not the best decisions going forward, following those turnovers and just getting sped up. Same thing we experienced against them the first time we played them at their place. I thought rebounds, we didn't get out-rebounded too badly last time I checked. And, I think TCU shot the ball the best they shot it all season. They were 50% or more from three. So that surely doesn't help our case with 22 or 20-plus turnovers.
What have you thought of Jerome Tang in his first year at K-State?
Oh, man, I love it. Love what he's doing. The guys seem to be enjoying it. The fans, they seem to be enjoying it. So you can't ask for a better leader to come on board, and especially with all the excitement he's had over the last 8 months or even say 12 months. He started off with 2 recruits and got an entire team, and we're competing for a Big 12 title, and I think with that, it's just like it just sets the bar for what he's going to be bringing to the future.
Was it tough to maybe accept a new coach after Bruce Weber left?
I wouldn't, not for me. I'm open to whoever is gonna do something or is willing to support the university or the men's basketball program. So if he's a great fit and the players love it, I love it. If they like it, I love it, is what I always say.
You mentioned the recruiting. K-State's got 3 4-star signees for the upcoming class. One of them is Michaela Britch in the St. Louis area.
Yeah.
DJ, as a former St. Louian, is that the right way to say it? How special is that to see for you, and how important of an area can that be for Jerome Tang to recruit?
I think it's great because we've always, St. Louis connection to Manhattan has always been a thing from, and then even back in the 80s with some of those other guys that I met over the Legends Weekend, I don't know, we had so many St.Louis guys that came to Manhattan. So I think it's really important, you get some really good athletes there. It's always, sometimes I feel like a flyover city compared when you talk about athletes, but we got a lot of athletes there. And I think Michaela Britch is definitely one of those guys who can come there and make an immediate impact.
You talked about the turnovers, DJ. What's the specific cause of the turnovers for this Kansas State team, and how do teams in general just kind of cut back on turnovers as well?
I think a lot of it's just our decision-making and playing kind of loosely. And you don't want the guys to play too tight either because, they're athletic and they can do some good things. And when they do succeed on some of those riskier plays or riskier pass, it's good. But I think that might be the cause of them, just guys playing loose and knowing that if I throw this lob, I know Johnson can go and grab it, or I can make this behind a back pass. I know Tom is coming back to dunk it behind me, so just having a lot of confidence in the team, and that's good. I think that, but more maybe just getting sped up when we shouldn't really get sped up. And I think the guys, they know that, like easily got sped up by TCU first game. In this last game, we played them in the Big 12 tournament.
How much could this team use a player like DJ Johnson? You know, they're very athletic and they're long, they're physical, but they don't have that true center down low in the paint. How much could this team just use a guy like you?
I think it could help. For sure, it could help. You know, I feel like a lot of games that we've played, if we had someone, if we played against a opponent that dominated the post, we sometimes struggle against those teams. But then again, you could say that I could hurt it because I never stepped out and shot threes like Tomlin. So, you know, the game is changing and we definitely need that, the stretch the floor and bring that big man out at times. And it's great to see Tomlin out there and being confident and shoot threes. And Igiola has definitely stepped up with his post defense in the post and finishing around the basket. So I'd say they got a good combination between Igiola and Tomlin. You know, I'd be doing the same thing if I was shooting threes, but I never got an opportunity to.
So, Coach, they wouldn't let you, or they wouldn't let you shoot threes at all?
Man, I was scared I was going to lose my scholarship if I stepped out and shot a three. They was going to take it away or something.
So, is there a player on this team? There's not that one guy that's as big as you, as dominant as you. Is there one player that just might be your favorite to watch?
Man, I couldn't put my finger on one of them. All of them, they come to the game and they do something special. Even the guys that come off the bench, they come and they make their impact. They make it known that they're in the game. So it's always great to see. And it reminds me a lot of the team that we had maybe my sophomore year in my redshirt junior year, where I sat out. We had a lot of talent on that team. And we won a lot of games, won a lot of games against top 25 teams. But everybody came on and added. They share the ball well. That's never them being selfish or being hugging the ball. I sit back with my girlfriend and I just tell her, damn, I love the way that they move the ball so well. That's good basketball. So that's always good to see. So I really couldn't put my finger on one player. I'd be kind of biased if I said Noel just because he rode through the storm. Him and then seeing Ish coming back from injury and making all those threes, like it's always great to see that guys that make it through the change and continue to press on and then make their way back into the NCAA tournament, because me and Wesley, we essentially did the same damn thing.
You talked about the turnovers, and we'll touch on the NCAA tournament here in the second half, but are those turnovers the number one thing that is holding this team back from making a deep run in March Madness?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a large part of it. The turnovers and, just having somebody down there to rebound the ball. I think the guards, they do a good job corralling it, and bigs are doing a good job on boxing out. I think turnovers are going to be going to make a difference. We shoot free throws well. We make threes at a decent rate too. And Igiola's been doing great in the post. I kept saying throughout the season, man, I don't know. We need a big guy inside that's going, go in there and be that hockey goon or whatever it may be. But I feel like Igiola's done a really good job as of late, really post defense. I don't know if you watch the film back, but I just be seeing him, guys try to duck in on him. He's moving. He's got his head on a swivel down there, and that's always great. And I think adding some shot blocking wouldn't hurt us at all. So just that.
DJ, we'll wrap up the first half with this. I want to ask you a few rapid fire questions, if that's cool with you, okay?
Yeah.
Favorite teammate that you played with?
Justin Edwards.
Okay. Favorite game that you were ever a part of?
That's a tough one. I'd probably say beating KU back when we were sophomores. I scored like 9 points in overtime.
Okay. Your least favorite opponent or least favorite player that you ever had to guard on a different team?
I'd say it's a tie between George Niang and Perry Ellis, just because we were in the same class, but they had so much more skill than me coming in as freshmen. I mean, they played at every single level, post, three, mid-range game, everything, and they could bring the ball up, dribble, and shoot.
Last one I've got for you, DJ, and I know how you feel about the refs in the Big 12. I want to ask you, do you have a least favorite official from when you were playing?
Nah, man,
You can't say that. I mean, that might hurt the real estate business.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
say they all pretty equal because I feel like everybody gave me 3 fouls, and that 3 fouls in the first 10 minutes was just the thing that they did to me. So they all even in my book.
How do you navigate that as a player and not get so frustrated? Because Naquan Tomlin is a guy that really has battled foul trouble this year.
Yeah. You just got to pick and choose better because, you don't have your hand in there. He can't call it. So that's kind of what I keep in mind moving forward. And it's just something that you learned as I think he might be a sophomore or redshirt sophomore or something like that. So, you get older and it's just like, you don't even want to give it a try, get ready for the next play, basically. You might be able to let that layup go and get back down and make a bigger impact on the other side of the floor.
Sure. He's DJ Johnson. I'm Ryan Gilbert. We'll take a quick break here on the Shoot Around. Welcome back in here to the Shoot Around. I am Ryan Gilbert. Today we're joined by former Wildcat DJ Johnson. As always, we're sponsored by the Part-Time Beverage Company. DJ, what do you remember most just about playing in the NCAA tournament?
They treat you well. I remember playing my first year here. We played at Sprint Center. We were 4 seed. Everything was just taken care of. We didn't have to worry about too much. Just sit in, focus on the game, and perform. We stayed at the Intercontinental, which was like an amazing hotel that sits on a plaza. Ate good food, and just bonding with those guys that are preparing to leave, like JL, Martavius, and Rodney Magruder. So those are the most memories I have from it. My parents being able to come up, being from St. Louis and coming, and then the following year going to play in St. Louis for the 2014 NCAA tournament was special too.
I was going to ask you about that game against Kentucky. How tough was that for you? You had a foot injury and you ended up having to redshirt the entire next season. Just walk us through that process of, your journey to get back onto the court, but also, not being on the court to finish out that game, and that was what ended the season. And also, like you mentioned, being in front of, friends and family.
Man, I think I could have been a help for sure. I got one shot in the game. I think I got fouled and I knew I broke my foot, and I told the guys at the free throw line, like, man, I heard a snap. Mm-hmm. It's over. I'm going to the locker room. Let me get on the board because I didn't get to play my freshman year in the tournament at all. So just hard, my mom, parents seeing me like that. I think my mom had on a boot at the time too. So mm-hmm. just it wasn't great. And I wish we had an opportunity to get back to that or had a second bid that can come in and step in place for me. But Stephen Hurt, he didn't come by till the following season, and Thomas couldn't do it all on his own. That same Kentucky team went to the Final Four that year, or maybe the championship game. I think they played against like Frank Kaminsky, and especially tough for Wesley. I remember him because he grew up playing against the Harrison twins, and that was that same game. So it was just tough. Road to recovery was even more difficult, but I had a really great supporting group with Chris Lowry and Luke Sauber, especially Luke. He's taught me how to walk twice, from start to finish. Just totally how to walk again, had me change my diet. If you ask me who was I was closest with staff-wise, I'd say Luke Sauber. And he's amazing athletic trainer. Like I said, all I can say is he taught me how to walk twice. So
gotcha.
He made my recovery a lot easier. And then facilities at K-State too, just being in an underwater treadmill just about every other day, applying weight and just easing my way back onto the court was really good for me.
Would you like to see K-State? I mean, they got revenge in 2018. Would you like to see them play Kentucky again in the second round?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I think it's common. It's a common denominator that everyone has. Like, not everyone has a big, but Kentucky has a big this year. But I like our odds against them, especially with our guard play. I think our guard play is like some of the best in the nation for sure, especially when we get going how I know we could get going. And I think that's probably the one thing I'd say about this season where I've been like, come on, like, I know what you guys can do.
Yeah.
And I expect that every game. And I know coaches expect that from them every game. And, fans expect that from them every game. But I'm like, man, I know y'all can play some of the games that we've lost that are close or we just didn't show up. I'm like, I know they got it. So we just need to turn it on. If we can turn it on, I'd love to see Kentucky there again and show them who the real Wildcats are.
How do you guard a big man that Kentucky has, like Oscar Tshiebwe, when you don't have that DJ Johnson? Is it your Naquan Tomlins and Bebe's just, all going up and being strong and physical? Is that all it takes?
I think I really think Igiola's done a really good job. Just a lot of the post defense stuff that he's been doing lately, probably the last 2 months or so. I think it's been great. He got his head on a swivel. He's standing in the split stance, so nobody can go and duck him in. He's denying the ball. He's got help on the backside, so it's not just going to be him by himself. But, of course, that ball pressure, him doing what he can to make that post-entry pass look like it's not there, and then that backside help. And, if he's not in the game, because he's not always going to be in there, Tomlin and what's the kid again from the Netherlands?
David Gasson, yeah.
Gasson, if he's in there and he maybe not got – I haven't seen him play much defense down there, but if he is down there, just ball pressure and having backside discourage the pass so they don't get it inside. I think it's going to be our best bet. And I know we can do it. We've seen them do it before. Seen Noel coming in there, diving on the backside when they try to lob in the pass. So it's all things that we know and we can prepare for.
I want to backtrack, and you mentioned playing in Kansas City. That was your last ride with J.O. and Rodney Martavius, all those guys. Mm-hmm. How do you manage those emotions here for Kansas State? Just in the NCAA tournament, knowing that this is, the next loss, there isn't going to be a tomorrow. How do you manage those emotions, knowing that, this could be your last game?
It's tough. You just got to go out there and leave it all on the court. And it seems like they have a really tight-knit group. And, I'm sure those conversations have been had where they know, this is it. And if they're watching this, get them one piece of advice is just leave it all out on the floor. I played terrible my senior year against Cincinnati in the NCAA tournament. And, I look back at it constantly, look back down on it for years, like, damn, I wish I would have did this a little bit more. I wish I would have looking at the film, wish I would have did some certain plays wrong, or thinking back that I could have prepared. Don't have no regrets. Just go out there and play y'all game. Y'all know what y'all doing. Y'all experienced, and you got a lot of talent, and y'all prepared everything. Y'all prepared to get to this moment. Y'all deserve it. Take advantage of it.
If you had to say anything to the coaches, would there be anything that you would want them to know, just as a former player, about playing in March Madness? Because you mentioned what you would say to the players, obviously.
Yeah, man, they've been there too in their experience, so do what you guys always do. I think they know that, they just watching them, even on TV, they take care of the guys, make sure the mental's right, and they doing everything they're supposed to be doing. The communication on the bench is great, it seems like. So they know what they're doing. They've been doing it for a while.
I got a two-part question. What's it going to take for any team in general to make a deep run in March Madness? And then also, what is it going to take for this K-State team specifically to make a deep run in March Madness?
I think for any team, you're going to have to, I don't know, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You're going to have somebody to defend the post, or you're going to have somebody defend the post, and you need somebody to stretch out the floor too. I think that's just like common on what I see in like every single team, even in the Big 12. You might have like 2 or 3 teams that got a solid big, but everyone else is kind of playing small ball. I think that's going to be big. The defense in NCAA tournament always. And whoever gets the most layups is something I think that's like going to be prevalent, especially this year. Who's going to get the most layups? That defense, shoot the ball decently. I mean, I think we shot the ball like 63% when we were in Dayton, Ohio in that first 4-in game, and we got to the second game, and I think we might have shot 35%, 33%, something. So just knowing your game and knowing when to back off, picking the good shots, and we got great seniors, great point guard and game controller in Noel. So I think that's going to be important for on the K-State side. Just controlling that tempo, making the right plays. Every play don't got to be a home run, even though it's mad exciting because, I mean, we got guys that can go up and get those lobs. We got guys that can shoot the ball from the logo Steph, and, you know, so it's exciting to see. But every play don't got to be a home run. It's something I would tell those guys.
Tang has mentioned how the first game of the NCAA tournament is the toughest one to win. And after that, it doesn't necessarily get easier, it just doesn't get harder. Would you agree with that? And what are the keys to just winning that first game?
Man, I think a lot of emotions are flowing, and I can't really speak to it. I didn't get to play my freshman year in the NCAA tournament. My sophomore year, I broke my foot and I was out. And, you know, that first round of 64 or last 4-in game, it was a difficult game, especially because it was a quick turnaround. But I think he's right in that aspect. You know, we got that game and we just kind of rolling and felt good, you know. But I've only won one game in a tournament myself, so I can't speak to it.
You mentioned the turnaround. Obviously, you had to travel to a different city because it was the play-in game. But what's the process like just not having, you know, that much time to prepare and scout and look over your next opponent?
Yeah, I don't know if it was a disadvantage because, I mean, you've done it all year, and the coaching staff that we were with, they were experienced just like this coaching staff. So I don't think it's such a big turnaround. You know, we've had games where we played back to back or a day in between. So I think no challenges on that front. Especially with that day of rest in between, I think we'll be okay. Preparing for them, you know, scouting report, doing everything you did throughout the season. Nothing new, just different opponent.
Couple things before we wrap it up, DJ. Playing in the Big 12, it's been tough for years, right? It was tough when you were playing. It's still tough today. How different is that going to be for this K-State team just to play a team that's not in the Big 12?
Well, I hope it's not too difficult, and I hope they realize that, you know, this team, Montana State, is Montana State.
Yeah.
They're in the NCAA tournament for a reason, just like everybody else. And they put their socks and their pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. And, you know, don't be like us. We came out against LaSalle kind of flat, got down by 19 points. Everybody in that tournament is there to play, and they're there for a reason. So don't make it tough. Don't play down the competition, because I know we do that a lot. I feel like we do that often. Like, we play down and then we got to play catch up. Not the time or place to do it. We need to come out like we have, and we need to come out how we did with TCU and maintain that throughout the entire game.
DJ, we'll wrap it up with this. What is Kansas State's ceiling in the NCAA tournament this season?
I don't think we got one. I like our guard play. I like our bigs, the especially the ones Tomlin and Igiola. I like all of them. I like everything. I like what everybody does, and I really don't think that gives us a ceiling. That gives us an edge to where we can stretch the floor. We can defend inside. We got great guard play. We can shoot the three well. We got guys that can drive, not afraid to get their nose dirty. I love Seals. Dude is just come in there, just a bulldog. So you got to love that, hustling back and forth, turn the ball over, run down there, get a block. That's some stuff that I would be doing, you know? So I just don't think they got a ceiling, man. They got a lot of great pieces, and they can make something happen, you know, really get it popping in the tournament.
Awesome. DJ, I really appreciate you taking time with us, and look forward to watching K-State here in the NCAA tournament.
Hey, me too, man. Go Cats.
Once again, he's DJ Johnson. I am Ryan Gilbert. This is the Shoot Around.